Hi there, Judy from Thistledew Creations. I'm on a bit of a kick making these little pouches with expanding pockets inside, like this. You might have seen these done on the YouTube. I made these two this morning in a couple of quite interrupted videos, so I thought I would start fresh and just show you these and make a couple more, or at least one more. We shall see. But I took apart a date book, more like a diary book, and I folded the pages, glued them together, and then glued them, fold them like this into a tube. And then just using the whole page, and then I folded them in half like this, and then you glue them together, but you only glue down the center. So you would glue here, and then you take the next one and glue it to the first one, just keeping them stacked on top of each other kind of exactly. And then, because that one's not glued yet, you glue right down the center. So by the time you're done, you don't see these dates and stuff. It's just lined paper. You can use any kind of paper. Actually, a thick brochure. This is like a brochure from our vanity company, like last season's brochure. And the pages in here are glossy and thicker, like way thicker than magazine page. They would be really good. In fact, I think I have done some like that. They might still be in at my dad's. So that gives you that expanding pocket idea. So I've got this one, which I think I glued too many together. It's going to be way too thick. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I think I decided that 4 was a good amount. That gives you 8 pockets. So I'm going to take this one off, because if the pouch is too many pockets, by the time you fill all the pockets up, it's ridiculously thick. So I'm just going to tear that one off. And that might need to be re-glued. And then I can add this one to this, and that'll give me another 4-pocket booklet. On one hand, you kind of want as many pockets as you can get, but if it's an awkward thing to handle and use, then it won't be used. So you want to make it just smaller categories of things you're putting in there, I guess, is what I'll do. So that's 8 sections, and that one's 8 sections. So this should be the same size as this one, which I did not measure. And it started with the book pages that are, I'm going to say, it's 9.5, should be about 5 or 6.5. 6.5 by 9.5 was the size of the book pages that I was using. It could be book page, music paper, any kind of paper, but I just wasn't gonna, I had started a day timer from like last year, and it was falling apart. So I ripped out all the pages that weren't used and left all the pages in there that I might need to still access in the first part of this year, and kept the pages to do this with, the pages that I tore out. Okay, so there's the first one. We'll figure out a cover for it, and I had been using, I was going to start fresh today and do you covers out of brown paper, and I thought I've already got a whole bunch of sheets of file folder where I've done just a really rough collage. Just one day when I wasn't feeling very creative, I did this. So now I can make use of these by using them as covers. I have them all stacked in front of where I sit here, and they've been there for months and I haven't touched them. So I thought today's the day they're getting used. So I'm going to go ahead. Actually, this is pretty straight because it was torn along the edge of the bottom of the file folder. So that's a pretty straight edge. So what I'm going to do is use that edge, let it be a little rough. Actually, what I should do is see if I could go the other direction. I don't think I can. No, it's not quite long enough that way. So I'll go this way. And I didn't really measure the other one. I just kind of lined it up so that there was about 1/8 of an inch on that side, and then I'll mark on the other side, just like that, and cut there. And while I'm at it, I might as well do two. And what I like about this particular one is that when I'm doing my folding up, nothing's upside down because I've got this going sideways. So keep that in mind if you're going to do this, because that was something I struggled with on this one, was which way to fold the flaps so that all of the writing was right side up. And I did end up being able to do it on the front, but not on the back. It's upside down. This one is good on the front, not on the back. So if that's a concern of yours, then do your collage with the paper with the writing on it going sideways. I don't mind if the music's sideways. So that's for that one. These would be the same width, but I'll still just mark it instead of measuring it. Actually, if I do them the same, because I know these are the same, then when I get to my measuring part, ooh, look at that. It's perfect. It was exactly half of that piece of file folder. That's incredible. I don't have to cut here. I just have to cut that flap off. I'll just kind of straighten up that right on the middle of the cutting. Now that is kind of awkward there. Maybe I need a little strip of paper there. Just use that. That's the great thing about this type of collage. It's so forgiving. If you need to cover something up, you just put another piece on. So those are both the right width, the same width. I'll need this again because that's putting it too far. And then, like I said, my wording is all going in a direction that is okay to me to just fold it up wherever it needs to be. So I'm going to just mark this. And then I could stand this up, let it kind of be loose, and mark the other fold, and then mark my top fold. And then I think I've determined that these front or the top flaps need to be about 1.5 inches or so, so maybe about there. So that's going to leave me enough to make a small tag with or something. Works out. So I put that in with that first line lined up with the groove, and then run my bone folder down there. And I was doing several score lines. I don't really think I need to. It kind of makes it, it's pretty much staying flat on the bottom. So I'm just going to do the 2 score lines. And then this is my score line for the front flap. And then this is my cut line for the front flap. So let's just mark the other one out and do it the same while we're doing it. This is how you can try to kind of mass make something if you're going to do 2 things the same size. Just while it's all fresh in your memory, do it all at the same time instead of doing one and then having a coffee and then doing the other one. And having to remember what you did or how you did it. And then this one's the cut. And then if you hang around to the end, we'll make these into little tags at the end. That'll be fun. Okay, so then I like to fold backwards first. It's usually easier. And then fold it in the direction I want it. Burnish it. And burnish it. And burnish it. I don't know if that's the correct way, but that's what I do. Oops, now see, now that didn't like to fold, so I might have to put another piece of paper around that corner. If that doesn't bother you, as long as that little strip in there doesn't come loose, it's fine, but if that might bother some people, so then you can fix it with some lace or some washi tape or whatever. Okay, and then I'm going to do medium rounded corners, so that's a 7mm on the flap and just the little 4mm on the front. And that side, it's not even going to go because that was a little part of the file folder anyway. So the mediums on the flap and the small one on the front. And that one's not going to do anything. That one will. It's not pointy, that's all that matters. Okay, now we had decided that we needed to put the brad on the front first before we glue the pages in or the pockets in. So let's decide on our brads. These are things I worked out in the other video. You won't just know these things going into it. This is my 3rd and 4th one that I'm doing, so kind of have this figured out this far. So there's 2 different colors of, well, I don't know, one looks a little shinier than the other. That one's more copper. I do like copper. Okay, there's 2 that match. And there's 2 that match. So I just have one of these little divided boxes. I think it originally might have had beads in it. I'm not sure. It's got a little measuring thing on the lid of it. And I just have all different types of brads in here. From big ones to little ones. And then what we were using for the discs is just some 5/8 punched. This is cereal box or something like that with just plain end pages from books, the pages that don't have any writing on them in the front and back of a book. I always pull those out and use them for backing journal cards or tags or things like this. This was a piece I probably intended to make a tag out of it, but it looks like it was a Chapman's ice cream, and I could just see it through there, so I didn't really want to use it for a tag for that reason. But once you've got it all chopped up into little circles, you don't see that. I was using 2 glued together just to make them thicker. So I need 2, 4, 6, 8. 2 more. And I'm just going to do a few more while I'm at it, just in case something goes awry. And that one went flying and one went down my shirt. Okay. Having fun now. I don't know where that went. Okay, so then I glued 2 together. Just with tacky glue and a little press. Lining them up. And I'm going to poke them on this foam pad that I have, that I use for my book binding kit. I'll do 4 of them while I'm at it. These will be nice and thick. Hopefully they won't delaminate over time. It's hard to punch thicker cardboard, so it's easier to glue 2 that you can punch together. And these would probably be thick enough. I just wanted it to be a little more sturdy. And once you ink the edges, you don't really see that it's 2 pieces. And that one slid on me. Get that back before it dries. And then my pokey tool is actually, I think it's kind of like a Cricut tool. It's not branded. I think it's from the dollar store. Go sort of right in the middle and just poke whatever pokey tool you have. I also have one that has like a screwdriver handle and it's just straight, and I got that at an auction sale in a man's toolbox. So it works well too. It's quite pointy. It just has a good grip on it, and it makes a bigger hole, which I do sometimes need if I'm pulling ribbon through to bind a book or something. So that's a handy tool. And then you put your brad through. And once the brad's through, it's easy to ink the edges. These are all things I just figured out this morning. I'm not an expert at this, just having fun. So then you can hold on to the tangs and ink. And really get those edges good. You can use pretty papers, pretty cardstock to do this. You don't have to use collaged cardstock. You don't even have to, you could just use brown or black if you want. But I thought I might as well use up these collages that I had done rather than starting from scratch. And at the same time, it's helping me clean off my desk a little bit, because I decided I'm going to use up the stuff that's on my desk and or put it away, because there's just too much out and it's distracting. Now, to figure out where you want them, you need to find the center of your front cover. So mine is 4 9/16. We're going to call it 4.5. We're just going to scooch that over and call it 4.5. And I want my disc right about this height, the center of it. So 4.5 is, half of that is 2.25, which is easy. So I can do a little X right there and poke that before I lose it. And go ahead and put my brad through there. And just split those tangs. That's going to be covered when I glue the pouches in there. And that, because I pushed through that little bit that's kind of bunched up there, is holding it off the page just a little bit, which is what you want to get the string in behind it. And then the top one, do the same thing. We've got our 4.5. I'm just fudging it so that it's centered there. And we want 2.25. I want that right about here, so I'm going to do my measuring down here. 4.5, 2.25. And then I'll poke there before I lose where I marked. And make sure I've got the same color. That was the idea, is that they matched. And bend my tangs over. And I'll need to cover that if I don't want to see this, which I really don't. So while I'm thinking of that, I'm just going to reach behind me here, and I've got some book page. This is French, I think. Well, maybe not. Maybe some other language. Oh no, je ne t'aime pas que. I don't know. I'm not a very good French speaker. I took French in high school and was, had good marks in it, but never really learned how to speak it, so to say. I remember we had shower doors on our bathtub at home when I was in high school, and I used to, once the shower steamed up, I would write out my verbs and stuff, my French words on the shower door. I'm surprised my mom didn't learn it at the same time from having to clean up after me. And then I'm going to ink this. The rest of it isn't inked, but I'm going to ink this. And again, this could be a prettier paper if you wanted it to be. I'm just keeping these kind of utilitarian. But I might make some pretty ones for Happy Mail. So that just covers up the back side of that tang. That brad. Is that right? Brad. And then they line up. And that one is actually a little high. That's because I don't have my second. Need to do another score line there. That will help. I don't know if I can make it quite as wide as the bottom one. Let me see here. If I have this glued in, it's coming right up to the top. Oh no, I can give it a little bit there. Maybe there. Check that other one before I go too far with it. It didn't help, it made it worse. It would have helped if I did it on this side. So I might need to move that down. I need to move it down. It was just right along the edge of a music line, so I just used that. as a guide. And then there is a hole there that you're going to see on the front here. So I'm just going to, again, take another little piece of paper and just glue it on there. No ink because the rest of it isn't inked. Probably wouldn't even notice it because it's right in the middle of all the music notes, but we know it's there, so let's cover it up. There. And then this one's going to need another. And I'm going to do it the other way. I'm going to do it in the, take it out of the flap. Again, that's broken on me because it's just on the edge of a piece of paper. So I'm going to have to glue that, maybe even glue something else over that seam if that doesn't want to stay. Okay, so our 4.5. So that flap is way up now, so I want to do this disc down here. So 4.5, 2 1/4. It's right on those notes. Do that one. That now seems a little high and it doesn't look centered. I don't know why. I would like this a little closer down to the bottom. So I may glue something right over top of both of those boo-boos then. You've got to learn to roll with the mistakes, for sure. Still doesn't look centered. Could just be an optical illusion from the collage, though. About 2 inches on that side. Oh yeah, it's not centered. How did I do that? I don't know. I'm gonna go with it. I'm not gonna worry about it. Not crazy about it, but I'm not gonna worry about it either. So then we glue down. Now, on the other ones, I did it like this. I glued down the whole front edge because I want to make sure it's firmly into the folder. I'm just wondering if it would be better if I only glued the center, but this is what I've done, so I'm going to do it this way again. Maybe for that one, I'll try just gluing up the middle. I just don't think it's enough to hold it long term. It just means that the front and back pocket don't open as wide as the rest of them. If you're okay with that, glue the whole thing. that. And then I've got my jute twine, and I'm just going to cut a piece about 1 foot long. I'm finding that I'm leaving them too long. I'm wasting a lot of cord. So I'm going to tie it around here. So I'm tying a knot. Better leave myself a little bit. Tying a knot on one side, and then going around and tying a knot on the other side of just so it's sitting level. I've got a knot under here and a knot under here. I'm gonna leave that little bit of string. It doesn't bother me that that's there. And then we do like a figure 8 closure like that. And that 1 foot is plenty. So let's fix this while we're on this one. So I just need something small. And let's make it sort of, is that too white? That's a bit white compared to all the rest of the papers. There's some bits of book page. So I'll take that right to the edge. I'm just gonna take that straight edge off. I don't really like that. Do it like that. And then hopefully it will stay stuck around that bend. Fair bit of glue on it. I'm not even bothering with the glue stick. I'm just going all tacky. So that's covering up that hole that I put in the wrong spot, and it's covering up the little tear on the fold. And I've taken it over the edge there kind of on purpose, and now I'm going to just tear it off while it's still kind of damp from the glue. Don't want it cut because this is all torn. And that I'll just fold and fold. While it's still wet. Just give it a little rub down to convince it to stay. Might have even been better if it came further around. But it's an easy patch on something like this because it's already all patchy. There. And then I had decorated this one, but I really didn't like how it turned out. So I think it's because I'm not in a very creative mood today. So I'm not going to decorate it right now. I'm going to go ahead and finish this one up. And it was better as far as being lined up, being centered. So I'm not sure what I did on that other one. You probably saw me doing it and were screaming at me, "That's not 2 1/4." This one I said I would try just gluing it down the middle. So I'm going to put a fair bit of glue down the middle here. Go back and forth, sort of spreading it and adding a tiny bit more. And then we'll compare them. How it looks, how it works, how it feels. I'll have to take my word for how it feels. So there's the front. And now the back. And I like to do different designs with my glue. It doesn't make any difference. It's just, you know, to stop yourself from being bored. You do the same thing all the time. It's kind of boring. So sometimes I do swirls, sometimes I do squiggles, sometimes I do diagonal, sometimes I do patterns. Just whatever. Whatever floats your boat at the moment. Oh, and that one I glued right down, didn't I? Didn't mean to. Okay, so then when you open it, see that back pocket doesn't want to open very far, but the front one will because it's just glued in the middle. So that's the difference. It still opens, but just not as far because it's glued all the way down. And the front one opens a little further on this one. On this one, they're both glued all the way down. So let's see how it looks after a few minutes. And again, that front one, you can get something in there, but it doesn't want to open up the way the other ones do. Like my finger's in there, it's pretty snug. And same at the back. My finger's pretty snug in there. Whereas these ones, you know, I could get my whole hand in. So it just depends on what you want to put in there and how easily you need to be able to get your hand in to get something out. So another foot long piece of string. And that crease is not in the right spot because it's not, see how it's not really giving me any extra width at the top. So I think I need to do another crease right here, and this might not be a good thing because I've got it. I'm just going to try to do it like this. Since I'm right here. See if I can fix that. Now it's way far away from the bottom one, but that's all right too. At least I've got my width, because it might even get thicker, right? When you put it full of stickers or something. The nice thing too is if it does get really thick and you need a wider piece of string, you just put a bigger piece of string on. No big deal. So I think I have one of these in my Christmas stuff, full of Christmas fussy cuts. And I might make a big one. I've got some pouches. They're like parchment paper pouches though, and I'm not sure if I can glue them. That one could have used maybe a little more than a foot of string, but there you go. That works. So empty, it's fine. It'll be interesting to see what it looks like full of stuff. So let me just grab. I've got a bunch of little artist trading cards or playing cards that I've started. So let's just put one in each pocket and see how full it gets. And one in the back. Cute way to send a bunch of ATCs too. So that's one thing in each pocket. That gives it a more firm feel, you know. If I do two things in each pocket, these are all nice flat things. If you start putting 5 or 6 or a dozen stickers in each pocket that is all in a lump, you know what I mean? It might be even different. So there it's starting to really be firm and really fill out its thickness that I've left. But I do like the way that feels once there's something in it. It feels like a nice little bundle. So give it a try. They're fun to make. I'm not going to store these in here. I've got to finish those. These are just playing cards that I've put tissue paper on one side of them. Tissue paper and napkins. That'll be an upcoming video when I finish them up. I don't know if I filmed that or not, but I just had tissue paper and I had cards and I thought, oh, I'm going to glue this together. So that was fun. Anyway, do make these little pouches. They're fun to make. I think they're going to be handy little things to organize yourself. And especially for taking on the go. You could bring an assortment of little stickers, say if you were going to stay overnight somewhere and just wanted to craft a little bit. Or it'd make a great little gift of assorted stickers for a friend. A little thick for Happy Mail, but if you're already mailing a bulky package, it would work. Like if you're sending a small package to your friend in Nova Scotia, for instance, and you've already got room in the box, you might just throw one of those in full of stuff. Hint, hint. Now, I told you if you stuck around, we would do some tags. So rather than let these sit here as just pieces of paper for the rest of their life, I'm going to go ahead and cut them into tags. So I know I have 2-inch. We'll do a nice tag in my tag punch. So I'm going to cut them to 2-inch. And this one, let's see here. If I do a 2, it'll do 2.5. If I do it this way, cutting that right off, but maybe I can use that somewhere else. Let's stick it back in my drawer. Just gonna cut the bottom end. No, I'm not gonna. Yeah, that's the bottom end because the music's that way. So I'm gonna cut the bottom end square. And I think these ones are already pretty square top and bottom. That one could use a trim. It was on file folder, so it's just the little part that was rounded. And then my punch, I love this punch. This one does 2.5, 2, or 1.5, and it has these little ridges. I don't know if you can see them on the camera or not. The bottom well is for the 1.5, the second layer is the 2-inch, and the top is 2.5. So the 2.5 goes right in there. You just make sure you've got it all the way in, and I don't because there's something in there from last time. Go all the way in and just push down. I have had a little bit of trouble with it not cutting all the way through, which annoys me, but I put up with it. I don't have any choice. Could get a new one, I suppose, but or cut some, people say to cut tin foil with them. I don't know if that works or not, but I just go around and it's almost all the way through in most places. It just needs a little help. So then you get this cute little tag, and I like them when they're short and stocky like that. I think they're cute. And then this one, being a 2-inch, goes in that second layer between the ridges there. And again, it didn't cut all the way through, but it creates the guideline for me to just do a couple of little snips. And that just does not look even. There, that's better. And where's that third one? It was just here. There it is, in my guillotine. Okay, and make sure that your writing is facing up. It does fine on single thickness cardstock. It's this glued up stuff that it doesn't like too much. This could be 2 or 3 layers at any given spot, right? So it's just a little more for it to work its way through. But I find these little scissors finish it off without making it too messy. Again, not perfect. And then you get these little, it does the hole at the same time, so you get a little bit of confetti out of the deal. And then we'll ink those. And these we will dig into my little box of ephemera here, or embellishments, I guess it is, and decorate them. Now sometimes, often, I round these corners too, because putting this in and out of a pocket is a lot easier with a rounded corner. So this is a good thing to do in front of the television too. If you just have some cardstock that maybe you're not really crazy about it, but you want to use it up, you make up a bunch of these tags and either leave them plain or decorate them. You might be surprised once you decorate a color that you, or a pattern that you really don't like, how much better it looks to you after you've decorated it. But you can always put them in Happy Mail. I'm not saying send all your ugly stuff in Happy Mail, but something that you don't like, someone else might think it's just awesome. So, especially if you sort them by color, and then if someone's asking for yellow, like I don't do yellow much, but if someone was asking for yellow, I've got plenty of yellow stuff that I could send them that I don't really care for. But when they get it, they're going to like it because they like yellow. So that's how that works for everybody. There's some things that'll just stay in your stash forever if you don't like them, right? So you might as well share them. And I'm always, whenever anyone asks me what I like, I'm asking for purple, teal, pink, and neutrals. And so I get, and I don't have, as much as I love those colors, I don't have a lot of those colors. So I get that in Happy Mail, and it just does just that. It makes me happy. And so there's 3 tags. Let's see about decorating them. I'm starting to feel in the groove today here. Feels good to have something done. I hope you've enjoyed seeing these little things. I've got a couple more sizes that we will do, just not in this video. Here's a couple of little pink butterflies, and I've got some little pink roses. These are a book of 10 stamps that the post office, Canada Post, has with this ranunculus design, and I've cut these out, and I will cut this one out too and use them. But they have these little stamps. They have stamps, and then they have these little round stickers that you can use. You're supposed to use them, I guess, to seal your package or your envelope. But I just use them as stickers. So let's put that there. And let's put a little butterfly fluttering around it. So I'm going to fussy tear. I don't know why I put my ink away. I always need it again. So that might go there. And then what else? You could do, believe you can, and you're halfway there. That's already kind of inked in blue, but I'm gonna ink it anyway. And these tags aren't for anything in particular, so they'll probably end up in a Happy Mail pile. I have a little wicker basket that I keep things in that if I'm gonna send some Happy Mail, I can always pull something out of it to send. When I make a bunch of pockets, I put a few of them in there so that I can send them with stuff like this in them. There, a little bit more overlapped. And then maybe a real flower in the foreground there. Just ink the edges a bit. There's that yellow that I don't like very much. Hubby got me yellow flowers for Christmas. I don't know what he was thinking. He knows my colors. He lives with them. I always do, if there's something three-dimensional, I do it up at the top of the tag, and that way if it's in a pocket, it can be in a low pocket. See, make sure there's no bad words here that I want to cover up. And maybe a little bee. Trying to take a taste of that flower. And then some sort of a little topper. We've got some purple that'll be about the color of that butterfly. And this is off of a dress that I bought. What did it? It had a tie that was way too long or something, so I decided to use it for crafting. And I usually do a lark's head knot. You've all seen me do that before. Today I'm going to just do a knot. I saw this the other day and I thought it looked kind of cute, where they kind of had it tied in front. I didn't leave myself much extra. My fingers feel very big right now for some reason. There. I don't usually do it that way, but I think that looks kind of cute. I usually have it like sticking up like a tassel, but because it's the same tones as the butterfly, it looks good. So there's one little tag. Let's see what we can do with these other two. I was wanting to use this, but it's already a tag shape, so I'm not sure about it on here. What do we got here? A tea bag wrapper. No. I'm not sure how much of my little basket you can see here. You guys must see what a mess I work in. But you know, that's just the way I roll. I don't know why. Little button I'm going to put away. Actually, I could use this again, these same series. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Take something and, take a moment and make it perfect. That's not very good. I can't even read it myself, so I'm not going to use that. But this one doesn't have writing, so I'll use it. We got a little bit of pink and a little bit of blue. And I do like my all neutral stuff to have that pop of color. So we'll glue that down. There's lots of room on here for this. I'm going to put it over on this side where it's plain. I don't want to cover up the music. Yeah, I should have some stuff put away on my desk here, but as soon as I put it away, I need it again. So that. I love these little ball mason jars, but I think I'm saving those for artist trading cards. I'm going to do a summer series with those. I might want a couple more yellow flowers here. I've got a little label that could have went in behind this if it's not too late. Yeah, it's too late. And it's got a tear in it, so I'm going to go ahead and tear it. And I'm going to glue it. Let me see here. I'm going to do it right here, because I don't really care about that writing. Nothing wrong with it, but it's not all that interesting. And then re-ink that edge. I love doing that with tags, and I'll just get, you know, twice as much use out of it that way. I don't want to do it up there because that's going to be harder to trim. I think I can do it down here like this. It doesn't even matter if it covers up the butterfly. And these are just ones that I stamped onto coffee dyed paper and then cut them out. So again, something you can do in front of the television is just stamp onto whatever kind of paper and then cut out tags and postage stamp marks and postage stamps and things like that. There's a little piece of vellum. That would be neat over top of something. So let's see what we can put it over top of. There's a little bird. There's another one of these. And because this one already has a bird, I'll find a little butterfly, or maybe just use the bees, or I've probably got dragonflies too that I could put with it. Bird, butterfly, bee, all my favorite things, right? That music's upside down, so I'll cover up the treble clef so that you don't notice that it's upside down. Come down just a little ways. And then, because I have a neat little piece of vellum, I'm going to, I think that was cut with my ripple scissors, which is over the other side of the room, so just bear with me for a quick second. Somewhere I have another pair of these, and I've lost track of my extra set, but I'm just doing the ends of it. And I think, I'm not really even crazy about it after all that. I was going to put a brad and hold it down, but I think I'm just going to glue it down. Oh, I know what I can do. I'm going to glue it. I'm just going to have it overlapping everything and glue it. I don't think the glue is going to hold it. It might. It's 3-in-1 glue. Come back to that in a second. Give that a second to see how it's going to hold. Just fussy tearing around this bird. I had it cut out in a nice, neat rectangle, but I don't want all that. Where can I have this sitting? Right there? And then the little flowers up towards the top. Right there. It might seem close to the edge, but I like it there. And then a bee trying to get in on the action. Oops. I've got everything off to one side, but I want to see this music. And then I think that's good for that. What am I going to put through the hole? Something pink or something blue or something yellow. I've got this, which comes in really handy. It's variegated yarn. So I can pull a section. Even the green might be good. Pink and blue would be good. It's sticking to my rough edges on the fingers. You need a little bit of a manicure. And I think I'm going to do this the same way. Just a knot towards the front. Could use something in there, I think, but until I find something, I'll just leave it like that. And then this, well, it might stick. But what I was thinking was staples or a stitch would be the other thing. I think I'm going to try a stitch. I do have a piece of a needle here. Bookbinding box is handy here too. I think I have, the mauve might work because that tag has mauve. Oh, there's a little bit of purple there. It's a fairly dark, or is it brown? That's brown. I thought I saw purple. That's a better amount. I need to bring in a few colors of floss to have handy at my desk here, just for things like this. I'm just flattening that with my teeth, so it'll go through, hopefully. If you can't get it to flatten enough, just put some glue on it. Give it a few minutes to dry up. Then it won't be so prone to come apart. And get it through. You're probably cutting the end off afterwards anyway. So for any kind of multi-strand string, that's a good tip. A little bit of glue on the end. Now I am going to do myself a knot. Just so it doesn't pull through the card. And I'm going to do a little X. So I want to pre-poke so I don't have to rely on my stitching skills to get it right where I want it. So the top of it's here. I'm going to go 1, 2, so just 4, like make a square, and then when you do your stitches, you're going to make it an X. I'll show you. So I'm going to put my knot at the back. So come through from the back. I almost should be sewing something on the back too, but I'm not. So come through from the back, go across on a diagonal. What I'll do is I'll cover all this up on the back with something. So come on a diagonal and then go up to the top again. And come down on a diagonal. Diagonally. So you got your little X sewn on there. And then you can do another knot, or you can tie these two together. Is what I will do. In fact, you probably could have got away without that first knot because it's going to make it really lumpy, but it's okay. It's up at the top too, so again, not creating bulk in the bottom of the pocket if it's put in a pocket. I almost always end up putting tags in pockets, at least I do. Okay, so I'm going to leave that strung in case I need it again. And you could also put just a dab of glue on that. You can cover it up, or you could leave it long and tie like some charms to it or something, but that just is a nice way to use vellum. It still has the glue, but you probably didn't even need the glue if you were going to do that. And I don't know if I want this maybe just a little bit shorter, like that, so you can see this. And that'll go in the bin to be sewn down to something else somewhere along the line. I think that's a cute detail. And then something pink or purple. I could do a little bit of this. That's the right, well, it's not quite the right color pink. That's a little bit bright too. I need something more of a paler pink. I have a couple things here that might work. That would work if I had enough of it. Do have a bigger piece. Might be big enough. So this is one of those really stiff fabric ribbons. It's must have sizing on it or something. So I'm just going to cut myself a slimmer piece. Put it through there. Don't know if I'll be able to tie it. But what I can do, if I can't tie it, and I think I'm going to give that a twist so that I'm seeing both good sides. It has just enough body to it that it'll maintain that twist. And then what I thought I could do is use that cord again and put a stitch in. It's a thick needle. And then like just right above the card, and then wrap it around and pull it fairly tight. I've been meaning to try this, so why not today? And then tie that off in front. Give it a good tight knot. And again, and then just cut that off. And then if you wanted to, you could put charms on, so that's why I'm leaving it long. I might want to put some charms on that at some point before I send it or use it. But I think that's a really cute way to top them off too. If you have little pieces that you can't quite tie, you could do them like that, like a little bit of a tassel idea. So that's fun. Using some hand sewing today was kind of different. Don't always do that. So if you stayed around, you got to see, I'm going to put a little bee on top of this vellum, going for that pink flower. And I better use this yellow flower too. Keep them all kind of coordinated. And I'll put that up here. There. So 3 little tags. Used a few more bits of embellishments out of this box, which I have just completely overstuffed over the past few months. Three little tags from the offcuts and 2 little folders to go with those ones. So thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the couple of little projects here today. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. But most of all, have a great day and happy crafting.